Terrorism is a global phenomenon in the modern world. It simply means to cause fear, unlawful violence against people and property to achieve political objectives. Terrorism also are behind of those assassination or kidnapping. Mass destruction of private property. Or even the most common, terrorist bomb attack. And many more.
So the government is trying its very best to eliminate terrorism in our society. But what if this revised law would create conflict in our Bill of Rights? Would you still support this kind of Republic Act? Or object it because it might suppress your freedom of speech?
President Rodrigo Duterte signs the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020 into law.
On the 3rd day of July 2020, Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte signed into law the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2020, which replaces the Human Security Act of 2007. This law became very controversial because of its provision. Reactions from people have been mixed. Some of them agree, but a lot of people also disagree. But why is that?
So before Republic Act number 11479, or also known as Anti-Terrorism Law, was signed, there was an existing law fighting terrorism, which is Republic Act number 9372, also known as the Human Security Act of 2007. It is an act to secure the state and protect our people from terrorism. In Section 2, it is declared a policy of the state to protect life, liberty, and property from acts of terrorism, to condemn terrorism as inimical and dangerous to the national security of the country and to the welfare of the people, and to make terrorism a crime against the Filipino people, against humanity, and against the law of nations. The Human Security Act of 2007 only considers terrorism as creating a condition of widespread and extraordinary fear. But then again, it was repealed in Republic Act number 11479, and these are the provisions that were being added. According to the Section 4 of Anti-Terror Law, subject to Section 49 of this Act, terrorism is committed by any person who within or outside in the Philippines, regardless of the stage of execution. So these are the provisions that were being added. First is that engages in acts intended to cause death or serious bodily injury to any person or endangers a person's life. Next, engages in acts intended to cause extensive damage or destruction to a government or public facility, public place, or private property. Next, engages in acts intended to cause extensive interference with damage or destruction to critical infrastructure. Develops, manufactures, possesses, acquires, transports, supplies, or uses weapons, explosives, or of biological, nuclear, radiological, or chemical weapons. And last but not the least is the release of dangerous substances or causing fire, floods, or explosions. So even if this act is very powerful and can be the best deterrence to whoever plan to do terrorism, this law is also being criticized by many because of its controversial provision under Section 29. So according to Section 29, detention without judicial warrant of arrest, to sum up this section, it only refers to giving the authority a power to custody of those suspected terrorists even if without warrant of arrest of 14 days and can be extended up to 10 days. It only means that a person can be into custody up to 24 days with warrantless arrest if he is only suspected with terrorism. So why people criticize this section? It is only because it would conflict or violate our Bill of Rights, Article 3, Section 1, which is,
No person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall any person be denied the equal protection of the laws.
so if I were to ask if I am favor with this repealed law, my answer would be also mixed. It would be 70 and 30%. The 70% would be yes and the other part will be no. So why I said yes? It is because anti-terror law could give us more security, explicit deterrence to those terrorists, and we can easily eliminate those terrorism activities that are happening in our country. Because according to the 2020 Global Terrorism Index, our country, Philippines, is within the top 10 impacted by terrorism. So we should be worried by this, and we should be thankful also, because despite in pandemic, our government is thinking the best safety measures to protect our lives and ensuring safety precautions. And why I still have to say no a little? It is because it will somehow suppress our freedom of speech. I must say that this repealed law must still be examined by the experts and think about a minor revision, because too much power can still lead to threat to innocent civilians. For example, they can add or indicate that people can still give or express their opinions about the government, then not labeled as terrorists. So these are my thoughts about the Republic Act number 11479, or the Anti-Terror Law. Thank you for watching.